So now let's talk a little bit about what it means for something to be serially correct. So serial correctness has to do with the notion of serialization. So the serialization is the C++ code with the keywords replaced by null or Cilk++ keywords. So in particular, in this case, we have a spawn and a Cilk that are nulled out to produce this code. In the case of Cilk 4, you simply sharp define them to be 4. Now, the point of the serialization is you can actually debug and use your normal debugger in your whole environment on the serialization. Okay, so you can actually use, it operates like C++ code, and all the tools you're familiar, you can run them all on the Cilk++ code when you've serialized it. Okay, or you can run it on a single processor, and that will also give you the same serial behavior. And in particular, if we've done our job right, there should be no difference in any values that you ever see in the code between running it through this way or running it through this way. Okay, going through and running Cilk++ on a single processor versus doing the serialization. So the serialization, just to cap, is the C++ programs that result if you sharp define Cilk spawn to null, Cilk Cilk to null, and Cilk 4 to 4. The serialization is always a valid interpretation of the parallel code. In other words, every Cilk++ program has a serialization. Okay? There are some parallel programming paradigms that aren't supported by Cilk++. And the reason we don't support them is they don't have serializations. Okay? So, for example, message passing or explicit threading, p-threads and such, using task bags, producer consumers, software pipeline, etc. Those are all perfectly good ways to parallelize certain applications, but they have a problem, and that is that they don't have a serialization. So that debugging them becomes really difficult. Okay? In the Cilk++ model, okay, everything has a serialization. We can always debug a serial version of the code using ordinary serial tools. So although we don't support those, Cilk++, however, can interoperate with them. So if you have some p-threaded code or whatever, we can interoperate with that p-threaded code. So the philosophy here is less is more. Okay, you can debug. Okay, and that's a win, to be able to debug. So to actually produce a serialization is fairly straightforward. If you want to compile your Cilk++ program as a serial program in Visual Studio, what you do is just go to the general page of the Cilk++ compiler settings and specify compile as C++. And now when you build your application, you'll build it and you'll just use the ordinary Microsoft compiler to compile. Okay? And essentially does all those sharp defines automatically for you. If you wish to run your Cilk++ program on a single processor, okay, the way to do that is to take a look at the examples that we distributed with the distribution. And if you take a look at the pattern in main, and basically all you do is look for the statement where we set up the Cilk context and simply add the following statement to set the number of workers to 1. Okay? And these two implementations should behave the same, and we're actually going to improve the interface here so you don't have to go through quite this much in order to manipulate things.